early. Give us plenty of time to look at it.
Oh, well, you got a little bit of time.
Yeah, got until end of June. Getting started in
Yeah.
March. I think we got 2 more meetings planned. We're just gonna do the revenue tonight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did
Hey, Miss
y'all
Rudd,
pick?
Hello,
how are
Uh,
you?
I'm doing good. Hope you are.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
did y'all pick a new commissioner?
Not yet.
Not
Not yet. We
yet.
got we got 3 candidates.
Y'all need that commissioner so they can get in on this budget.
Yep. Yep. We got of course our regular board meeting is Monday night, so we'll make a decision then.
Uh-huh.
Miss Rudd, any of the commissioners there yet?
We only have Commissioner Myrick here.
Okay. Hey, Commissioner Meyer,
Good evening, sir.
how you doing?
I'm well, and you?
Outstanding, outstanding.
I was about to shoot a dog the other day. I thought that was a real dog. Woo. Well, you got me that day. Hey, you know I don't play with dogs there.
I was walking 2 Sundays ago. You know, we got some new citizens down here by St. Luke Church, and there's that old house there got some grass growing up around it. And so I was walking as I normally do, and I heard something coming through the weeds, and I was looking back, didn't see anything. And finally, when I looked back, there were 4 pit bulls
Wow.
coming, and little kids were trying to hold them back, and they were just running. I stopped all the traffic. Traffic was coming. I stopped the traffic. This dog can't get me. I'm gonna get on top of somebody's car if they keep coming.
You got that right. Well, I tell you, yeah, you got to be very careful when it come down to them dogs.
Yeah, the only thing that saved me was everybody's tail was wagging. So when the tail's wagging, they're normally friendly.
So
They were young, but they were big.
so the tag wasn't wagging.
Tail was wagging.
How y'all doing?
Any more commissioners arrived?
No.
Got 2 minutes before we're supposed to start.
Commissioner Joyner is on the way in.
On the way in,
Mm-hmm.
well, she always make it by the hair of her chin. Don't she?
Oh, cool.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Board of Commissioners meeting, special call meeting for the town of Princeville is now called to order on this Wednesday, March 16th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. We ask everyone to please mute your phones. Everyone, please mute your phones. Commissioner Mark, if you'll lead us in invocation, please.
Let's pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, most holy and wise and everlasting God, we come before you as humble as we know how, thanking you on this night, Lord, for all your honor, glory, and praise. Now, Lord, as we go into the town business meeting, we ask you to bless it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ms. Rudd, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, great. And you can read the announcements at your leisure. Nothing is different. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none. Is Mayor Pro Tem in yet?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
It's probably moved and second that we approve the agenda as written. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Now we're at the budget workshop. And let me just say thank you, Dr. Knight and Ms. Johnson, for getting this process started earlier than we normally do. This gives us an opportunity to study the data and make intelligent choices and decisions for our citizens. Thank you so much. Okay, it's on you, Dr. Knight.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you so much for your endorsement and the Board of Commissioners to this process, which will likely grant the board an opportunity, as you stated, Mayor, to actually thoroughly review sectional information from the budget, by which this session will include the revenue only. In the budget session in April will include the expenses only. During the board's retreat in May, it will be a full proposed budget and will give you all an opportunity to ask clarifying questions and prepare for approval consideration in our June meeting. So you are exactly right. This is the portion approach that we're hoping will grant you all an opportunity to make a sound decision for the community. And at this time, Mayor, I will yield to our finance officer, Ms. Alice Johnson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I'm thankful to be able to get work on this budget ahead of schedule. That makes it a lot easier so that we can hopefully have our budget approved by June 30th of this fiscal year without it being real stressful. Taking it in parts is good. So tonight we're focusing on the operational revenue. We're focusing on the revenue side of the budget, and I have had some handouts for you all regarding some of the revenues that we receive, and I'll go over those as we get to them.
Good evening.
Good evening. And we'll start with, as you see, the proposed revenue budget that you have before you. We start out with the ad valorem tax revenue that we receive. Those are property taxes that are collected by Edgecombe County for the town of Princeville, and the county issues checks monthly for the taxes collected, and they indicate whether or not it's for the current year or the prior year taxes, and they mail it to the town, and they also send us monthly AR reports. And so, with that being said, for the ad valorem taxes, we budgeted $227,042.16 for current year and $20,000 for prior year. Thus far, we have received 120 as of February of this year. We've received $120,923.56, and that's for the current, and then $22,756.90. And as I did my due diligence, what I did to gain our projected revenue anticipated by the end of this fiscal year, June 30th, 2022, I took that actual revenue that we received. That's because that's a figure that represents 8 months for this year. And I divided it by 8 and then multiplied that by 12 to get a 12-month projection of what we anticipate receiving. And what I anticipate would be $181,385.34. But also based on historical patterns of what we received, like in for fiscal year 2019-2020, we received $207,251.96. In fiscal year 2020-2021, we received $205,398.33. So we anticipate receiving 181,000, but it could be as high as $207,251.96 based on our historical pattern. And same with the ad valorem tax for revenue. for the prior year. So far, we received 22,756.90, and based on what we received divided by 8 and multiplied by 12, we anticipate receiving $34,135.35 by the end of this fiscal year, June 30th, 2022. And um, the data I was able to get was from 2019, 2020, which we received 21,475.39. So far we've actually exceeded that 21,000. We've got 22,756 actual as of February of this year. Um, Motor vehicle taxes are taxes collected also by Edgecombe County for the town of Princeville. The county issues checks monthly for taxes collected, and they also, with those checks, indicate whether it's for the current year or prior year's taxes, and they mail the checks to the town. And when the checks are mailed to the town, as soon as they're mailed, we get them deposited within the same day or the next day, depending on if it's late in the afternoon, then more likely be the next morning when we deposit them. We budgeted 41,649.57. As of February 28th, we received 90,823.62. And when I divided that by the 8 months and then multiplied it by 12 and derived at the 136,235.43 that we anticipate receiving by June 30th. Looking at the historical data, in 2019, 2020, it was 52,898.88, and in 2020, 2021 was 46,000. So we do anticipate receiving at least 136,235.43 based on what we've received thus far. Penalties and interest are the revenue from penalties and interest paid on the delinquent taxes. And so far we've received 76,1882, and that divided by 8 multiplied by 12, we anticipate 11,428.23. Okay. Local option sales tax. Those are taxes that businesses around the community, around the area, within the Edgecombe County area, they pay, and it's the state pulls it together, and then they divide it out by the counties, and that's depending on the number of people that live in the county, determines how much each county receives, and those are broken down. The sales and use tax is issued monthly, July through June of the fiscal year, and that's via ACH deposit, which is a direct deposit into our operations account. And the Department of Revenue sends an email remittance advice to the town manager, so that we'll know that we can anticipate this money. Once they send it to her, within the next couple of days, it's deposited into our account. And I, for your information, I included in our packet a sales tax distribution and closeout schedule. The sales taxes, when you look at the column that says sales, that's when the sales tax actually happened, like in January, and then the state does the collections in February. Then they close it out in the month of March, and then the distribution will come in April. That's how the state runs that, but it's still every month. But that's how it goes. So what we receive in April is from the sales in January, and so on and so forth. What we receive in May is from the sales in February. Okay.
Section 22, Section 14, Section 13, Section 21, fire EMS 400.
Okay. All right, and then on the other sheet I have is the North Carolina Department of Revenue local government distribution schedule, and That's just for your information sake, so that you'll know when the distribution dates of these taxes are being sent to the town. And the first four of them, the sales and use tax, electricity, uh, pipe natural gas, which we don't normally get anything for that, but we do receive the electricity tax, telecommunica- telecommunications tax, and video programming services. Again, those are taxes that businesses in the county, around the county, pay, and then it's distributed out to the municipalities. And those distribution dates are quarterly within the fiscal year. And the first distribution would be in September, then December, March, and then June.
So, Ms. Johnson, you said none of those taxes, the sales, usage, the telecommunication, or the video programming taxes, none of those we have.
No. I said the pipe natural
Ah,
gas.
okay, gotcha.
We don't receive anything on that.
What's the video programming service?
I when I answered that, that's all part of the utility tax. But and what that the state does is that they distribute all of these combined, and it's into the utility tax. It's a utility tax, and so it's from whatever uh, businesses that do video programming services or
Gotcha.
telecommunications. So the tax they pay on that is redistributed to the communities.
Okay, thank you.
What about the taxes that are listed? Scrap tires, white goods,
Yeah,
and medical.
yeah, medical. The,
We don't receive.
those are three that we don't normally receive anything on.
Okay.
But the solid waste, the local sales and use tax, alcoholic beverages, video programming, telecommunications, and sales and use tax, electricity, we do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And with that being said, um, for the local option sales tax, we budgeted 425,000. Uh, as of February 28th, we received $343,041.95. And based on my calculation with divided that total by 8 and then multiplying it by 12, we anticipate receiving $514,567.93 by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. And if you notice in the historical pattern in 2019, 2020, we received 555,000. So we'll be almost there. And then in 2020, 2021, it was 381,974, which at this point, as of February, we're almost at the 381, but because we received 343 so far. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next one is that utility sales tax, which includes the telecommunications tax, the electricity tax, and the video programming tax. These are all issued via ACH quarterly deposits in September, December, March, and June of the fiscal year. So when the Department of Revenue issues those funds, they're all in one, and currently it's lumped in together with the sales and utility sales tax. But my proposal is for the next year's upcoming budget is to create GL codes, one for telecommunications, one for electricity, one for video programming. I think we already have the telecommunications one, but I do propose to create a GL code for electricity and video programming so that these can be broken down so that in the future we will see when we receive this revenue which line item is actually from. Okay. But it's all together here. And so far this year, we've received $19,813.02, and we anticipate $29,719.53 based on the calculations. It could, based on the historical pattern, it could go up as far as 43,000, or or it may just be this 29,000 based on the calculations that I've done. Okay. Alcoholic beverage tax that comes from the state, from North Carolina Department of Revenue, uh, that is issued annually, and the email remittance is sent to the town manager, and our next deposit date will be May 27th of 2022. But we budgeted 9,400, um, and the projected revenue based on historical pattern, we anticipate receiving $9,313.71. Okay. Solid waste disposal. That's the tax that's issued quarterly via ACH deposit from the North Carolina Department of Revenue, and those deposits come in August, November, February, and May of the fiscal year. And the remittance advice is emailed to the town manager, and whenever they email her the remittance advice, she forwards it on to me so that I can make my journal entries once this money hits the bank. Okay. And so far, as of February, we received $902.09, and anticipate by the end of the fiscal year, we will receive $1,202.79. Could go as high as $1,677 based on the historical pattern from 2019-2020. Okay. Power bill, we budgeted 59,000. So far, we have $72,482.46, which 28,000 of that was a carryover, which was already in the bank, and we've earned so far this year 44,000, but added to that 28,000, we have 72,482.46. And by the end of the fiscal year, because the power bill, those funds are allocated for resurfacing the streets, and so they are distributed for October and January. But historically, I've noticed we've received the deposits in September and December respectively. So, but then normally the deposit date would be October and January. But like I said, we've received them as early as September and December. But we know if we don't receive them in September and December, we definitely will be in October and January. Okay. Our garbage disposal fees, that's water and sewer collections by Edgecombe County for the town of Princeville. Again, those checks are issued monthly from Edgecombe County. We budgeted $135,120. We received thus far $65,043.15. Based on the calculation of dividing that amount by 8 and multiplying it by 12, we will receive by the end of the year $97,564.73, or it could be as high as $122,000 based on historical data. Okay. Museum revenue, that is revenue from the sale of museum items via the website or the Princeville special events. We had two special events, the grand opening and, Juneteenth. Thank you. I was trying to think of what was on the ground, but yeah, Juneteenth. And so we sold items there, and I think we've had a couple of online purchases from that. Okay. And the Princeville special revenue, those were also spotlight items that we spotlight ads that were sold um, for the grand opening. Those were all in October. Now, the miscellaneous revenue and this general fund revenue, those are two items that I want to put on the parking lot and research that more thoroughly and come back with to you in April with a definite figure on that. I need a little more time to research those two, if I may.
Which one was that?
The miscellaneous revenue and the general fund. The mi- yeah, those two. Okay. And the next one, we're looking at our grant revenues, the state appropriated funds. That's a grant that we received in 2019. It covered, um, it was the grant amount was 385,000. It covered the technical and admin support for UCP COG. That was 35,000, and then the remaining 350,000 covers the financial consultants, custodian, some of the public works salaries, and equipment. And currently, I'm reconciling this fund with Miss Alsay at OSBM. So by April, I will have a definite figure as far as the balance of that, because I think that maybe get to the point that it's zeroed out. But I have to get. I sent Miss Alsay my report of what we saw that we spent, and she's emailed me back and let me know that she's gonna contact me with a meeting date so we can compare uh, the expenditures, so we make sure that we get that right. Okay, and I'll have that for you in April as well. Okay, Senate Bill 363, that was the $6 million grant that we received in 2019, 2020. Um, and we anticipate by the end of this year, we'll still have $3,920,166.53. Okay. Um, United Way, COVID and operational. These come from United Way Tar River region. Um, and I propose that, well, these are together, but they need to be separated. Um, the COVID is more of a restricted grant, and then the operational piece of it for what's used for human resources. Um, and also that's another one that I'd like to be more definitive in April. Um, if you bear with me, okay. Other grants, the NCORE CDBG-DR Infrastructure Recovery Grant. We received that this past fiscal year, and as of June 30th, we anticipate still having the $742,112.06 in that account, in that grant. And ARP as well, we'll have the 306,905.64 by the end of the year. And the this 500,000 in core grant, we anticipate $500,003.01. We earn a little bit of interest on that. And the Cannon Foundation, that is a vegetation grant received from the Cannon Foundation in Concord, North Carolina, $50,000. And we anticipate um, a brick grant in the amount of $12 million. That's wonderful. That's a competitive FEMA grant program to support states, local communities, tribes, and territories in building resilient infrastructure and communities. Okay. And our other restricted insurance proceeds um, from Hurricane Matthew, those proceeds we've expended. Dr. McBeth, yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, out of the insurance proceeds, we had gained, we got 922,000, and we had spent 200 and some thousand, which we have left 526, 368. Okay, and again, I will do more due diligence on that line item as well. Okay.
You said the total was 926,000.
900, yeah, it's around 922, 926, something like that. I know it was 920 something thousand.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And FEMA proceeds, um, out of the FEMA proceeds, we have 732,398 remaining. Okay. And the COVID-19, we received a grant from Edgecombe County. We received $20,000 of that grant in September of 2020, and 13,000 of that grant in April of 2021. And out of that, we have $5,754.87 remaining. And by the end of the fiscal year, we anticipate that being zeroed out. You finish.
And so, thank you very much, Ms. Alice, for your due diligence on the revenue perspective. And I do want to add, if I may, on page 2, where Ms. Alice said that she will do more due diligence on the miscellaneous revenue and the general fund. Um, she's speaking from a perspective of how those funds came in and some of the options that we are exploring. And she can actually go back to QuickBooks and identify how those line items were obligated as they came in. But areas of consideration is from the COVID-19 funds, scholarship funds that the donor presented to our seniors, and also it could be a combination of the county playground equipment that we received for $1,500. And so Ms. Alice will come back with the details of where those funds was generated, because it may need to be moved from operational to grant. And so we just want to make sure that we separate the operational funds from the grant funds, and also have a detailed understanding of the expiration of those grant funds. And so with that being said, I do want to go down to the ARP with the understanding that that total amount would be 608,000, and so far we've received, as Ms. Alice captured, the 306,000. And also I want to remind you all about the Encore, the $500,000 that we received from Encore, keeping in mind that at the last board meeting, you all approved that those funds be obligated through our paving and through our vegetation, the difference of our vegetation. So that will be a reduced amount, and perhaps by the end of this fiscal year, the obligated funds remaining will likely be only for paving. And so we'll have all of that earmarked and all of that captured in our retreat by the time we get to our retreat with a combination. Also with the Cannon Foundation, that will actually be zeroed out because the vegetation is well underway in our community. It's in the second phase. And so far, the first phase has been completed, and the vendor has already submitted an invoice for that $50,000. So I want you to keep that in mind. Also, with the insurance proceeds that Miss Alice just captured, that $992 or $922,000 was a breakdown of different facilities in the community that totaled that 922,000, and that looked like your town hall, your senior center, your museum, the pavilion at Heritage Park,
Yep, those
and the shelters,
the shelters,
the
fire
sheds,
department.
fire department. And so that captured several areas that they combined that insurance proceeds. And so we know that that will continue to reduce as we're just now getting back into the town hall. And we're also working with the senior center for replacement items. So I just want to bring that to your attention as we're working towards the revenue part of the budget. So thank you so much for your attention, and I'll yield for any questions.
So for the general fund, the scholarship, the COVID-19, the county playground equipment is all into that one figure.
So upon us, Commissioner, doing an exploration into this, those are options that we will pursue because those are unclaimed funds. And because these two have not been claimed, what Ms. Alice would do is go back and do some additional due diligence to identify where these items were obligated. Even if they need to be reclassed or do journal entries on, she will come back and make that report in April because you do need to know whether that will fall under operational or whether that will fall under the grant aspect of it. Because if it's operational, we need to know if those are funds that will continue to come into our operation, or will it just be a temporary unrestricted fund that will go under the grant proportion of the budget.
Okay, so your recommendation would be similar to United, where you separate the operation from.
That's exactly right, because that's always important, and that's what you all have always said, and we understand that very clearly, that your grants are temporary supplementary funds for different projects, and we understand, as Miss Alice conducted her due diligence, that with those operational ones and you have the actual details, when to expect those funds to come in, what's the historical pattern of those funds, you can better set your budget from your operational continuous revenues.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Other questions from the board?
One other thing, Mayor, and I also want to highlight just for FYI on your second page where it says NCORE CDBGDR infrastructure recovery. That's actually your floodgate project. Those funds are obligated for your floodgates. And so I'm sure that they will not be expended by this fiscal year based upon a conference call that we had, that they are still in the permitting phase of the flood gates. And so I'm sure that that will carry over into your next fiscal year.
Dr. Knight, the funding for paving, will that complete all the streets that we have? Or
No, that will not complete the streets that we have. As you remember, CEPI's recommendations and the preliminary process that they conducted on the streets and their recommendation for the remaining streets. What we hope will happen is that the town will be able to take advantage of some of the infrastructure funds, and I've already submitted that to CEPI and asked them to take a look at that and how we can benefit from those funds to get the remaining streets complete.
And that certainly should not be an issue. I was with the Upper Coast Plain Council of Governments on last night, and our region, our 5-county region, received $100 million for infrastructure, transportation, and broadband. So that is certainly good news.
yeah, it is.
Other questions?
I have one last question. How soon do we expect to hear back from Ms. Alsay regarding the reconciliation of the OSBM?
Well, she sent me an email week before last to and asked me to give her some time to review what I had sent to her, and in comparison to what she has, and she would call me or email me for a time for us to meet. So she didn't give a definitive time frame.
All right.
So we hope to increase her urgency so
Yeah.
that we can have an answer to you all in the April's meeting. And that's one reason why we paused the public works expenses coming out of this particular line item, just to make sure that we are reconciled according to what OSBM has. And so they've been really good, correct, Ms. Alice, with responding. So we'll just increase her urgency with the thought in mind that we want to have this presented in April before we even start with the expense side to finish up, to clear up the revenue side of those things that Ms. Alice has highlighted.
Yes, and I hope she aligned with the urgency because
Yeah,
this would definitely affect our new budget year.
it will.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I'm certainly glad to see the brick on the budget, but has that been confirmed yet?
No, it has not been confirmed. And as of a conference call today, Wooten and Associates have been responding to FEMA with their last questions. And as of a month ago, they did present a set of last answers to FEMA's question. And so we're hoping that that will be the last set of questions. As you well know, we're in our final phase of consideration. And so we're hoping that the last answers that Wooten and Associates provided will take us into the final phase of consideration and FEMA and announcing who the winners are. I mean, who the recipients are for those funds.
And is that what we're waiting on for the 53 and the 88 acres, the 12 million, so we can do the infrastructure?
No. So the first phase of the 53 acres, we have those funds already obligated through a state match with the CDBGDR for the and NC Commerce. They have the funds that will relocate the public works and relocate the fire department. We have the beginning infrastructure, water and sewer, and the streets for those two facilities to transfer through your legislative appropriation. What that $12 million will do is take us aggressively into the second phase to finish developing the 53 acres. And we haven't even gotten to securing funds for the 88 acres. That's still a behind the scenes effort between the town and the state and federal representatives.
So when can we see some action for phase one of the 53?
So according to Wooten and Associates today, they're still waiting on some preliminary permitting, and and the state through the CDBGDR requested for an additional design to be presented to them. And so it's a process. And another element that was mentioned today is that we need to loop in Edgecombe County because they are the owners of the water and sewer. And the recommendation is that the town does need to go into an agreement with the county on the maintenance of the water and sewer because they are rightfully the owners. And you want to do it on this side and let it be a part of the preliminary process.
And we already have developers for the 53, correct?
That's correct. We have Wooten as the engineers and Oakley Collier as the architects for the 53 acres. And, you know, we also have North Carolina Growth working on the marketing analysis and Stewart working on the build out analysis that will be presented to the board so that you all can look at that concept plan again to assess whether or not it needs to be modified based upon the updated information and also your investment in the 88 acres.
So, Dr.
Excellent. Other questions?
So, Dr. Knight, you mentioned one time that I believe the Office of State Budget Management made a suggestion that they may go ahead and start building houses on the 80. Well, not go ahead, but would like to think in terms of doing that. Is that still an option?
So they're still exploring funds for that particular option to present to the governing body.
Okay.
For the 88 acres.
Right. Mm-hmm. That would certainly be a great endeavor because of housing needs and
that is very true. And you also want to keep in mind that according to this month, the Pioneer Court facilities units will close out this month. Mm-hmm. And so one of consideration is to look at where those vouchers will go, whether or not the board wants those vouchers to go scattered in the 53 acres or specifically in the 88 acres for affordable housing. So that's another consideration that will be coming up in April. Hmm.
Okay.
And I think we had said most of it should be on the 88 because we want the majority on the 53 to be commercial because it's adjacent to Interstate 87, more commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct, Mayor. And so we will keep you posted in April as it relates to the updates. And we hope that you can look over these revenues presented on this evening. And if you have any further questions, when we jump start on April the 5th, we will start with the revenue again, addressing any questions that you may have since the layover from this meeting. And once those questions are addressed, we'll go right into the revenue portion of the budget. I mean, the expense portion. I'm just stuck on revenue. The expense portion of the budget.
Sounds great. This is a big help when you break it down in chunks like this to help, you know, help you to be able to truly get a real good snapshot of it. And it should be not a big deal when you get the rest of it to pull it all together under one umbrella
Mhm.
and see the whole picture.
That was our thought, is to work on a piece of it at a time instead of all of it together.
Yeah, because
It's
it
a
can
lengthy
become
process.
overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lengthy process.
Mm.
Dr. Knight, Ms. Johnson, have y'all heard anything about a $10 million exemption for each municipality in terms of the grant funds coming in ARP?
I can't say that I have, but we will do some due diligence and make some phone calls to assess the validity of that and report back in April.
Okay, it came up in our meeting last night with Upper Coastal Plains, so you may want to reach out to them.
Will do.
Okay, and they also mentioned a housing rehab and reconstruction grant for, matter of fact, they have 5 new grants for 2.9 million. Again, that's not a lot of money when you talk about the 5 counties, but certainly we can get anything we can to help our citizens. Be great.
Yes, and we're working that email that you forwarded. We're working with Tyrants on the understanding of those particular funds and whether or not Princeville would be eligible to submit application to those funds. So that conversation is still underway, and my hope is that we will be able to give you all an update in April at our regular board meeting.
Excellent. Other questions? Thank you so much, Dr. Knight, Ms. Johnson. Excellent job. Any comments from the board?
I would like to make one comment, Mayor.
Okay.
Maybe next month we can consider, correction, not next month, Monday, the next board meeting. Consider making a motion to have the public meeting for the citizen that want to come if necessary. They have open and extended for, most towns and public business. So I think we need to do what is right.
Okay, that'll be up for consideration. Anybody else from the board?
Yes, Miss Alice suggested that we separated United Way and create codes for electricity and video programming. Does that require a motion from the board? It does not.
No, we're just going through the budget session process. So
Okay.
that's something to keep in mind. So when we present the final proposed budget in May and June, then you all can make a decision about whether that's something that you want to give the final approval for.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. And I want to say that when I was elected to the board in 2019, the financial report that I got back then didn't even compare to this right here. And I see the time and effort that you put into it, and I'm grateful for what you've done for us on tonight.
I agree with that. It's
Thank you.
very job well done.
Thank you.
And I'll yield completely to Miss Alice. It was by no doing of mine. She would ask some clarifying questions, but she definitely did her due diligence on this because it's a sense of ownership for her, having been in this position for now a year,
Yes,
come the
yesterday.
that 15th. And so congratulations to you. And she's just been an added value and an asset to the finance department and working with our key stakeholders. So we're hoping that she will build a solid foundation in our finance department so that it's something that the governing body would be proud of and can really support her in the development in that role. So thank you so much for bestowing your recognition unto her. She definitely deserves it and has worked
Thank
very
you.
hard.
Absolutely.
Well done. Are we able to get her any help in there yet?
That's another story, Mayor, for an update at our next board meeting.
Okay. Two announcements. We have a new county manager in Halifax County. Her name is Dia, D-I-A, Denton, D-E-N-T-O-N. New county manager for Halifax County, Dia Denton. And also, Dr. Knight sent out the evaluation document for the town manager and also the board. I didn't realize that the board could be evaluated.
Yep.
But if you get a chance, please read through that. That is some very good information. It is not just us evaluating ourselves, but we can have community members involved in evaluating the board as well. And I think that'll be beneficial for the town and its citizens. Get a chance, take a look. It's a lot of reading, but it's very valuable. Okay, is there anything else?
No, I do. I just want to say that in the very near future, and I'll just say this in the event that there are some citizens that's in my ward and Ward 2, I will be calling a meeting of my constituents just to hear your heart, to hear your voices, just to see what's on your mind. And I'll hopefully be able to announce that date and location in Monday night's meeting.
Is the mayor invited?
No, sir. Yes, Mayor, you'll be invited.
Will you have some food?
No, sir. So you probably won't be there.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Then properly moved and second that we adjourn. Any questions? All in favor, just vote and sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Have a blessed week. Stay safe.
All right.
Adios.
How you doing?